Hey, it's Pat here. In this video, I'm gonna teach you how to earn an additional $500 a month in your business. Doesn't matter where you're at with your business, if you're just getting started or you wanna add an additional income to what you've already done, whether it's on the side or you're growing your full-time business, doesn't matter. These are gonna teach you what is possible. And the reason this video is important is because we're gonna get into the math a little bit. The math helps you determine what to do. Now, I'm not gonna tell you how to do something for like a quarter and do it like 2,000 times, but we'll start with $1. Something you can do for $1 or sell for $1 500 times, right? Because 500 times 1 is $500. So one example are iPhone apps, right? iPhone apps are very popular. 99 cents is a common price point, and you sell 500 of them, you have about $500 a month. But you have to keep in mind also that you're splitting the cost. Essentially, Apple is taking 30% from you if you're gonna be doing iPhone apps. So that means you have to do a little bit more at the 99 cent level to get to that point. Now, I've actually built an iPhone app business myself with a partner of mine back in 2009, and we did very, very well. We almost grossed $1 million from that, but we've since stopped that because the app market is quite huge now and very saturated, and it's very difficult, especially with Apple and all the other competitors out there, to get found and cut through the noise. But you can make it work, and many people have proven this. Where you can succeed with apps, if you choose to go down that route, is to get very niched with it. So find a specific group of people. These entertainment apps like, these farting apps or whatever, those don't work anymore. You can get lucky, but if you really wanna actually build a business out of this, selecting a niche, building tools and resources that they can use, these apps that they can use in their sort of daily life or create habits or whatever, that's how you can start to gain some momentum there and actually make these 99-cent apps work for you. Another example that uses a very similar kind of math would be like producing ebooks that you then sell on Amazon for like 99 cents. And very similar, Amazon takes a cut of that, typically 30%, and actually they take more if it's between a certain price range. So I think even at the 99-cent range, you'd actually benefit more by pricing it at $1.99, in which case you'd only have to sell half. But again, how do you get people to find them? Well, iTunes and Apple and Amazon, they have algorithms that can help you. And really what matters is, how useful is that thing or how great is that content? That's how you get found, that's how you get shared, and that's how you can do very well, by selling a lot of things at a very cheap price, but that may not be the way you wanna go. All right, so next up, let's talk about something you could sell for perhaps maybe around the $5 level. Now, obviously you could sell apps for $5, or you can sell ebooks for $5, but so let's talk about something else. What about something like a template or a worksheet or some sort of spreadsheet that people can get access to that helps them in some way, shape, or form in their life? So this is actually a lot more common than you think. There's a lot of niches out there that do serve a lot of people in that space by selling worksheets and templates. If you look up on Etsy, there's a number of them related to parenting and productivity and those kinds of things. Sites like Teachers Pay Teachers. Teachers are creating their curriculums and selling them to other teachers as well, and they're making money as a result of that too. Now, $5 would likely be on the lower range of selling things like that. And just think about it, you'd need about 100 people every single month to get access to that. But of course, since you're using these platforms, you're likely gonna share a little bit of that profit with those platforms, and that's okay. So you might need to sell a little bit more than 100 a month, but if you can get to that point, or maybe you have that size audience, or you have connections with people who have those kinds of audiences, it can work out really well. All right, so let's move up now to $20 per item that you're selling. And how many of those would you need to sell in order to get to $500 a month? Well, 25 of them, right? And this is something I have experience with because the first thing I ever sold was a book, electronic book, an ebook, on my website at greenexamacademy.com. And this was a book that was not available on Amazon, but it was a study guide essentially, a lot more information, a lot more helpful for people who are trying to pass this particular exam. I sold it for $19.95. And at that price level, as you can see, 25 people, that's less than one a day every single month to get to that $500 level. So things start to add up at this point. As you can see, now we have less people that we need to find, but we're helping them in bigger ways. Yes, an app or a little ebook on Amazon could really help somebody, but something that's a little bit more related to the specific problems that they might have, and something with perhaps some workbooks and other worksheets and things that they can do to get some results, that's something that you can command a much higher price point for. And again, you wouldn't need as many people to get some big results. And fun fact, I later raised the price of that same book, and in that month, I actually sold more. So as the price goes higher, there's higher perceived value in what it is that you're offering, at which point a person may be even more comfortable with paying for that thing. Okay, so let's move up in price point now to something that's maybe around the $50 range. So how many of those would you need to sell to get to $500 a month? Well, 10, obviously. When you break it down, that's like 3 a week. So what kinds of things could you do at that level? Well, you can create something like a small online course that really helps a person achieve some sort of goal that they have. So a little bit more valuable than a book in terms of how you help somebody, a lot more valuable perceived there because there's likely gonna be videos in it or perhaps some quizzes or even a certificate at the end. And this is very common through sites like udemy.com or lynda.com. Prices can range in those different platforms depending on the price, and you see courses that are even more expensive than that. But that's something you can do that you just do once, and then you just have to worry about having students understand that this thing actually exists, and then you can start building that. And then of course you can build more courses on top of that. So maybe you only have to sell, one of each course every week if you have 3 courses down the road. So the math really starts to work in your favor at the higher price levels, obviously, but it all comes with providing more value and the kinds of things that you produce. Now, online courses can obviously range in different prices, and I would absolutely not undersell yourself, which is a very common thing to do. I mean, I have courses that are in the $497 and $697 range, very premium courses that walk people through a very specific process on how to do things like podcasting or affiliate marketing. But anyway, we'll talk more about that later. Let's move up a level and let's get to the $100 level. What could you sell for $100, and how many would you need to sell to get to $500? Well, the obvious answer is 5. So what could you do at that $100 level? What would make sense? Well, maybe you take the information that you have in this course, and instead of an online course that people get access to, maybe it's group coaching. So you find people who wanna work directly with you. You can answer their questions, and you do it in a group manner where it's 1 to 5, for example, and you can have those people continue to pay you every single month. So you don't even have to find new clients when you want to do that. So this could be something like tutoring. Maybe you do tutoring for something, or you teach music or something like that online. You can do that virtually using tools like Zoom, for example, where people get access to a link to then get direct access to you, and you can do that in a group fashion. You can start to introduce some sort of lower level services at this price point too. So maybe, for example, you have some web development expertise and you have 5 people who pay you every single month just to get access to you whenever they have questions to help them with their website as they come across bugs and things like that. A little bit of access in a group manner, or some services that you can offer at this point too. 5 people a month, $500. So now let's make the jump from 100 to 500. Why? Because all those things I just talked about, you can obviously increase the price point. You can sell 1 course for $500, for example. You can have 2 clients who pay you $250 for some sort of service that you offer. But let's talk about the 1 client or 1 person or 1 customer at $500 a month. Kind of sounds cool, where you can just find 1 person every single month, or 1 person that can pay you for 12 months. And that's all you have to worry about for an extra $500 a month. What could it be? So perhaps this is a one-on-one situation. You have 1 person who pays you $500 a month for some training, physical training, for example, or maybe you are there to help them with their search engine optimization, or you become their go-to designer to help them with whatever images they might need on their website, or photography. Maybe you just continually provide some photography for this client of yours. No matter what it is, 1 person, what do they need help with? Do you have a skill that they need? They're likely gonna pay you for that because they don't have the time, they don't have the skill set or the education that you have about that thing. And you'd be surprised about what people would pay for at that price. Another example would be to find a company that would pay you a $500 a month retainer, for example, for some sort of ongoing service that you do. It could be really anything. Find a company, ask them what they need help with, and work out a deal. It's actually a lot easier than you think to find problems that you could potentially solve. Now, coming up with a deal and getting the courage to actually go and do that, that's the hardest part. It really all starts up here. So the money is out there. There's no shortage of opportunities for sure, and there's a lot of different ways that you can see to kind of move things up and down in terms of how much something costs and how many people you need in. And of course, over time, you might get even more people in at even a higher price, which would be kind of cool, but it's really up to you to take those first steps and take that action. So hopefully you've got some motivation from this video, and the numbers make it seem even friendlier to you, because I know a lot of you are just getting started and you just have no idea what's even possible. Well, again, like I said, I've structured it in a way so you can see the numbers actually work in your favor. So why don't you just get started and make things happen? Now, what's really cool is, since you're just getting started, likely, you are in the right place. I teach people how to take what they know and turn that into a business. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'd love to know also below, which one of these examples are you either doing already or thinking of doing? Which price range and person range is most interesting to you? And then finally, make sure you click on the videos either here or over here on this side to get started, because those are gonna be the most helpful videos for you right now. So click on one of these videos next, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks again, and Team Flynn for the win.